Spiritual reflections. The first visit of a spirit to their family, the meeting between two worlds. Introduction. The beginning of a spiritual journey, a spirit's first visit. Have you ever wondered what it would be like for a spirit to make their first visit to their loved ones after passing away? What would it be like for the spirit to return to their home, their family, the place where they lived and where so many memories were made? And more, what happens to the spirit during this encounter with the living? Can they feel the pain of longing? Do they sense the presence of their family as before? And most importantly, what do family members feel when they receive a visit from a loved one who has passed on? These questions are deeply emotional and thought-provoking, and at the same time, they reveal important aspects about the continuity of life after death, reincarnation, and the process of transition between the spiritual and material planes. In this video, we're going to explore a moving and true account, written in the book Violetas na Janela, Violets in the Window, a classic of Spiritist literature. It was psychographed by Vera Lucia Marinsek and sent by the spirit of Patricia, who narrates what her first visit to her family was like after her transition. It's a story full of love, reflection, and comfort for those who have lost a loved one. Prepare to be moved as we delve into the experience of a spirit who for the first time makes contact with their loved ones on Earth, and into the process of adaptation and understanding for both the spirit and the living about this experience. Patricia's account, the first visit to the material world, the preparation on the spiritual plane. Patricia, in her new reality on the spiritual plane, shares with us her experience as she prepared for her first visit to her family. She reveals that soon after her transition, she was received by her grandmother, who guided and prepared her for this great moment of transition. Patricia's grandmother, who was already well adapted to the spiritual plane, explained to her that although the earthly home was still a place full of memories and feelings, the visit to the material world was an opportunity, but not a permission to stay. Patricia's spirit should visit her family, transmit comfort and affection, but should not remain there, as this would interfere with her process of spiritual evolution. Spiritual visits. What do they represent for the spirit? Visiting living family members is not a universal right for all spirits, and Patricia's account shows us that not all spirits are ready to make these visits. The spirit must be in the right spiritual condition. That is, they must have an understanding of what death is and the need for evolution. In addition, the emotional state of both the spirit and the family members is also crucial. For a spirit who is still attached to bonds of suffering or longing, a visit can be a moment of difficulty and distress. For this reason, the spiritual realm works to ensure that the time of the visit is beneficial for both sides. For the spirit, who can understand the need to move on, and for the family, who can be consoled without being emotionally harmed. The experience of the first visit. How Patricia lived this moment. The arrival in the material world. When Patricia's spirit approached her house on Earth, she had the spiritual perception that everything was different. She encountered the house that was once hers, but she noticed a great difference in its emotional and energetic state. She, who was already on the spiritual plane, no longer had the physical sensations she had before. When she tried to touch her mother, her hand passed through her body. This represented a moment of profound understanding for Patricia. Although the love between her and her mother remained strong, the physical bond had been interrupted by the transition. This is an essential point in understanding the visit of spirits, the energetic difference between the planes. Spirits, when they return to Earth, have difficulty interacting physically with the living, as they are now in a more subtle form. For family members, the visit is often felt in a very emotional and spiritual way, but rarely in a physical one. Even so, for many, the experience of feeling the spiritual presence of a departed loved one is profoundly comforting and brings relief. The encounter with the mother and the difference between the planes. As she approached her mother, Patricia, with her heart full of love and longing, realized that her mother was still physically involved in the material world. When she tried to kiss her mother, she experienced the sensation that her hands passed directly through her. This experience revealed to Patricia the subtle dimension of the spirit and the difficulty of physical contact after death. She could no longer interact physically with her mother, but the love they shared was not shaken. This spiritual encounter reveals the true nature of spiritual visits. Their purpose is not to change the course of material events, but to transmit love, gratitude, and comfort. The spirit cannot and should not physically interfere in the lives of the living, but it can transmit energies of affection and reflection. The impact of spiritual visits on family members. What do they mean? The importance of comfort and spiritual understanding. For family members, the visit of a departed spirit brings both emotional relief and an opportunity to learn about the spiritual nature of life. Patricia, in visiting her mother and her other family members, not only sought to bring comfort to them, but also sought a moment of learning for everyone, including the spiritual mediums who accompanied her. These encounters are profound moments of spiritual healing, but also of adaptation and spiritual self-awareness. The visit of a loved one, whether through psychography or a spiritual appearance, is an act of deep love, but also an invitation for the living to reflect on the transience of life, the value of eternal love, and the need to understand death as a natural phase of life's cycle, the spiritual visit and learning for everyone involved. Reflections on love and spiritual evolution. Patricia's visit to her family is not just a touching account of the love between a spirit and the living, but also an invitation to reflect on the continuity of life after death, the difficulties of those who have passed on, and the spiritual lessons that these encounters bring for everyone involved. These spiritual visits can be moments of profound spiritual learning and emotional comfort, both for the spirit and for their family members. Now, I want to invite you to reflect on how spirituality can transform our understanding of life and death. How about delving even deeper into these topics? Subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications to receive more content about spirituality and the world beyond this life. And if this video touched your heart, share it with your friends so more people can learn about the profound impact the spiritual world has on our lives. Become a member of the channel to get access to our exclusive WhatsApp group, where you can interact with others interested in learning about the spiritual world, share your experiences, and receive more exclusive content. What did you think of this spiritual visit? Leave your comment and share your own reflections on the topic. Let's continue learning together.